This is the Nissan FCV fuel cell vehicle. It's running hydrogen, fuel cell, and a lithium-ion battery in the back. I'm going to get a chance to talk to Brian, who is their specialist fuel cell guy from California. Okay, so I'm lucky enough to meet here Brian Johnston. Tell me a little bit about your job, Brian.
So my name is Brian Johnston. I'm a senior project engineer with Nissan, located in Sacramento, California. I end up doing on-road evaluations of our hydrogen-powered fuel cell vehicles.
Okay, and behind Brian, we've got a Nissan hydrogen fuel cell vehicle. So what I'm hoping Brian's going to do is take me through the technology. I don't understand it. I'm sure he can explain it a bit to me. What I know is that hydrogen kind of is the fuel cell that powers the electric battery that drives the car. Is that kind of right in a nutshell?
In a nutshell, yeah. So why don't we start out at the front of the back of the vehicle, I should say. So we've got store the hydrogen on board as gaseous in a compressed tank, and then from there we deliver it to the fuel cell stack, and then in conjunction with that we take oxygen from the outside air, also bring that into the fuel cell stack.
Okay.
And in the process of producing water, we liberate electricity, which is used to drive the vehicle down the road. And then in addition to the fuel cell system, we also have a lithium-ion battery pack on board, which is used as a hybrid system to supplement acceleration power, capture braking energy, and it also provide an idle stop feature so we can maximize the efficiency of the vehicle.
Oh, okay, that's clever. So what you're doing is you're actually using the hydrogen to propel the vehicle forwards.
That's correct.
That's used. The battery is back up, stop, start, that kind of stuff.
Correct.
Okay, so that's what the lithium-ion's doing. How are you feeling about the lithium-ion technology? Is it working? Is it there? People are talking a lot about lithium-ion technology in the world of EV. I just wonder what you're feeling.
Right. No, Nissan's very optimistic about the technology. In fact, we've actually got a joint venture company now with NEC to actually mass produce large format lithium-based batteries for electric vehicles. And because of that, we're actually looking at initial launch of electric vehicles, or battery electric vehicles, in 2010 in the United States and Japan, followed by Europe in 2011. So no, we see electric drive as a very important technology for the future, both in the near term and the long term. And battery electric vehicles, as well as fuel cell powered vehicles, are effectively one and the same. We just need an electrical power supply.
So tell me about the battery electric vehicle you're planning to release then. What is it?
Actually, the details of the actual vehicle are still being worked on.
Okay.
My understanding is it's intended to be a 4-passenger vehicle with roughly 100 miles range. But beyond that, it's still under development.
Okay, great. And what's your specialism? Is your specialism hydrogen or electric or both or fuel cell? Where are you?
My group actually focuses in on electric and fuel cell vehicle technology. So the primary focus the last few years has been on evaluating the fuel cell systems. But as we're getting closer and closer to electric vehicles to market, we'll also be involved with that.
Okay. And big plans for electric vehicles, and that's exciting to hear. I mean, I see that Nissan's got a couple of vehicles that I'm going to try and get some footage of already that are hopefully going to be brought to market quite soon. Hydrogen, I drove the BMW 7, which was great. It was an amazing vehicle to drive. Everyone's got their doubts about the technology. How do you store this stuff? How are we going to be able to refill it? There's one filling station in London, in Wembley, for hydrogen, and that's it.
Right.
What are your feelings on handling of hydrogen storage?
Actually, well, that's a good question. From Nissan's standpoint, we view our focus as actually on developing an efficient transportation vehicle that basically uses hydrogen. So we're encouraging partnerships with both government agencies and energy providers for them to be able to develop the infrastructure side. And the important part would be to make sure that the vehicles and the stations come along at the same rate so that people can actually use the technology when it's available to them.
Yeah. When do you think you'd see it on the road? I mean, in your mind, when do you think you'll have hydrogen available to drive?
Nissan aims for early commercialization in 2015. And primarily that time frame is set because we need to solve some cost and durability concerns with the vehicle. And we've made good progress on that. But again, it's hard to put a time frame on new knowledge. But our goal really is the 2015 time frame.
Okay. Tell me about life in Sacramento. You explained to me earlier that there are lots of group car makers together that are talking about this technology, new fuel cell technology and stuff. Are you sharing ideas and platform? Is that some way to move forward? Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, excellent. So the office in Sacramento, California is actually located at the California's Fuel Cell Partnership. So it's a public-private venture that has roughly 30 members coming from government agencies from the local level up to the federal level, as well as automakers and energy companies. And so the goal of that organization is to promote the commercialization of fuel cell vehicles, tackling several problems. One, how to safely transfer hydrogen from the station, to the vehicle, training of first responders, working with the insurance industry, working with permitting officials to make sure that they're comfortable with having a hydrogen station in their district. So all of the sort of non-obvious, if you will, requirements of a new technology being introduced.
And California's got a good record on air quality at the moment. The California Air Pollution Board, I'm not quite sure of the name, they're really driving forward with zero emission vehicle policy, aren't they? That's
right.
It's a good time for ZEVs.
Yeah, no, and California recognized its air quality problems back in 1970, started doing regulation at that point. And because California started regulating its automotive emissions prior to the U.S. federal government, California has the freedom to be able to set its own regulations. And so they've had a zero emission vehicle requirement in place since 1990, and is evolved a bit over the time, but still the focus is on bringing a zero tailpipe emission vehicle out to market as soon as possible.
Do you think you'll be driving a ZEV soon? You personally, or are you driving one now? Or?
Actually, I still drive an electric vehicle from the last round of EVs in the late 90s and early 2000s.
So what is it?
It's called an Ultra EV that Nissan made. It was a lease vehicle. That basically, once again, we're continuing to do extended life testing on it to make sure it does what we expect it to do. And then once we get the new release out, I certainly will be the first in line as a customer for an EV because I really think they're fantastic cars.
I got a G-Wiz.
Okay, yeah.
So that's what I've been driving for 3 years, and
Excellent.
It's a great little car. I mean, for using around London, it's kind of perfect. You just need a small battery vehicle that will get you in and out of those parking spaces and all that kind of stuff. It really works. I'm totally sold on the technology.
Yeah, I have not had a chance to drive a G-Wiz, but it's a great size vehicle.
Yeah, it is. So what kind of range are you getting out of your EV now then?
The original range was over 100 miles. The degraded range now is closer to 60. And that's a lot of what we're looking at, is seeing how this older style of chemistry, lithium-based chemistry, is performed over the lifetime. We've since then made significant improvements to the battery technology. Our target again is to have over 100 miles of range when the vehicle comes out, but much lower degradation constraints so that we can have the vehicle last for the lifetime.
What batteries is it running?
It's a lithium-ion.
Lithium-ion.
Yeah.
Okay. So that technology's been around for a while, isn't it?
Yeah, actually Nissan started developing the lithium-based batteries in 1992. And so we have quite a bit of experience with it, and as a result, we've entered into this joint venture with NEC to be able to mass produce the battery packs.
Fantastic. Well, Brian, thank you so much for your time. It's great to talk to you.